I was thinking about that when I said, what is agility, right? Because everybody's like, oh, agile. You got agility training, cone drills, ladder drills, right? At the end of the day, right? Do you really chop your feet on the field? No. I always use Barry Sanders as an example.
Force.
Watch Barry Sanders run, right? You always want to watch the best. Christian McCaffrey. Watch Christian McCaffrey move, right? When they hit the hole or they have to go outside, it's one plant into the ground, power into the ground, and accelerate what? Forward.
What I would say is yes, but also there are times when it's not forward. The forward intent through the feet will get you backward, it will get you sideways. The forward intent has to be through the feet, and then you're going to determine athletically where you got to go from that. Okay?
Right.
And if you watch Chad Ochocinco do the ladder drill, there is tremendous value for fast feet, to chop, to juke someone, to move. So it's a both sides utilized. The speed ladder is not making you faster, it's not making you more powerful.
Okay.
What it's doing is it's giving you the ability to put on the show in front of the guy, and you're reading him. If he don't bite, you go, and if he bites, you go the other way.
But he never does that in competition.
Who? The receiver?
The choppy feet.
Every time a receiver comes off the line, it's choppy feet.
That's what I'm talking about is when I'm speaking of agility, right? I'll use running backs as an example, right? They don't ever technically chop their feet.
Not the running back, the receiver does.
Receiver, yeah, coming off the line, but when I'm talking about downfield forward locomotion, it's one plant and go.
I agree with you on that 100%. But
And the problem with
it's baby with bathwater, okay? Because some guy's going to say, he's doing his speed ladder and stuff. Yes, you're right. He's not running faster 40s from the speed ladder, but is he a better football player? I would say Chad Ochocinco. Watch his drills. His feet are unbelievable. He had the best feet in the NFL ever.
What you're arguing a little bit about is open chain versus closed chain movement. In drilling, there's going to be some closed chain prescriptive type movement that you're trying to get a response from. But in a game situation, they might do things that, like Vince Anderson used to say, training should look like competition. And so, if you're keeping an athlete inside of a closed chain environment doing agility drills, it's not that it's bad for them, but it just might be a little different than what they do in a game. And so, like, what I try to do is to teach an athlete how to push their feet in 3 dimensions. Sagittal, frontal, transverse plane movement of learning how to push through their feet. And then they can apply that in their sport, which really isn't our job as performance coaches. Our job is to make them more, produce more force, be more efficient in those movement patterns. You said it first, of movement's king. Then they apply that in the sport. Now, if you're a running back specific coach and you're teaching how to run outside zone a certain way, then that's a different deal. I also think we also have to all be careful of Christian McCaffrey and some of these high-end athletes. They're gifted and they're different. They do things differently than the young developing athlete that we're trying to do.
I think that was my next question is something like the ladders may be from a coordination standpoint, and what we do on the ground is good for youth athletes, right? So
yeah, I mean, there's some of those things that aren't terrible. Of all training is from a 30,000-foot view is getting a stimulus from adaptation, or I'm sorry, providing a stimulus and getting an adaptation. So if some of those things provide that, then that's good. And I also think too, let me go way outside the box here for a second, because we all sit up here and discuss, the physiology and all these scientific things. Well, there's the relational component of what an athlete believes in, and what you're able to disseminate to them is the right way to train. And if I line up as I'm the ladder guy, and I'm the expert in the field, and that athlete believes in it, then you watch how that translates to the game situation, right? So, I mean, I have examples of, hey, I trained this group of athletes in 2009, and we won a state championship with a high-volume track program, high volume. And then 10 years later, I did the same exact thing with very low volume. And what's the common denominator is how I was disseminating that information, and that the athletes believed in it is, in my opinion, sometimes more important than perfect programming, coaching cues, and all these other things that we argue about.
I always say that dumb coaches can still win.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's dumb coaches everywhere.
Yes.
But I tell you what they have is charisma.
That's right.
They can sell ice cubes to Eskimos.
Yeah.
And the kids, I mean, my high school football coach was not a good coach. He did everything wrong, but I'd take a bullet for him.
Yep.
I'd take a bullet for him. And when that happens, you may still win.
Right.
Because
It
dumb
makes you a better athlete.
Yeah, I mean, one of the
Makes you a
most-
better
For sure.
person, yeah.
And, you know, so relationships are really important.
I mean, one of the most arrogant things you hear people say, like, you know, Michael Johnson, oh, he had bad arms. Man, if I could have worked with that guy and made his arms a little better, he might have held the world record for 25 years instead of 23
I'd say he
years.
did great with his arm.